Welcome to the ASEF podcast, where we delve into the rich and diverse culture of Slovenian art. I'm Teja, an ASEF Junior Fellow 2021 and a PhD student of art history. Throughout this series, I am chatting with talented Slovenian artists who are making a name for themselves in both domestic and foreign cultural scenes. I'm exploring their perspectives on the challenges and opportunities facing Slovenian art today, as well as their vision for the future of the Slovenian art world compared to foreign artistic practices. In today's episode, I have the pleasure of welcoming Teja Tegelj, an accomplished Slovenian artist who has pursued her artistic education at the Faculty of Education in Ljubljana and is currently completing her master's degree at the Academy of Fine Arts and Design in Ljubljana. Teja's creative expression primarily revolves around drawing and painting, with a recent focus on researching the concept of embodied cognition. She also ventured into the realm of video and sound art. Teja has received prestigious awards, including the highest recognition at the International Art Ex-Tempore Ptuj Carnival and the Golden Osten Award at the Drawing Biennial in Skopje. Her artwork has been showcased in both solo and group exhibitions, both in Slovenia and abroad. Teja, thank you for being with us on the ASEF podcast. We are super excited to have you here. How has your week been so far?
Thank you for the invitation, Teja. It's my pleasure to be with you and to talk about my work and interests. Well, last week was some kind of transition period, if I look at it from a teacher's perspective, finishing the school year and starting with vacation. And such days usually have a positive charge full of expectations for the holidays for both students and teachers. So here we are starting to think about spending summer days. Quite a pleasant work to do. For me, it is important that I change the location from time to time and charge with energy and inspiration that new places maybe can offer me. And the summer vacation is ideal for that. But
I can't agree more about the summer vacations that you can just go somewhere, relax, and then you charge yourself with the new energy, like you said.
Yes, very important to me. But it won't be just relaxing this summer. I just started preparing my new studio, which is essential to realize my project with big-sized papers and canvases. So yes, a proper place is essential. So this is what I'm focused on at the moment.
Very good. Well, congratulations on your new studio. Like you said, a great space and great energy is very important for the work and the inspiration for the artists. And you're also, as an artist, you are well aware that maintaining this creativity and productivity, it can be challenging. Especially it was challenging during difficult times, such as these past 3 years. In 2020, you created also a video performance, which was titled Our Daily, and it was direct response to the anxiety and the fear experienced during the COVID pandemic. I really would love to hear more about your experience during this period and how you managed to sustain your creativity and this productivity amidst these challenges. Are there specific strategies, rituals, or mindset approaches that played a role in keeping you inspired and focused on your artistic pursuits?
Yes, this is a good question. How to sustain creativity and productivity despite the challenges we are facing in our society during the COVID pandemic, especially at that time. Well, I tried to maintain a clear head but it was not always easy. Even if you try to stay in your own balance, your own inner strength, there comes worries about the health of your loved ones, and in such cases it can quickly pull you on the side of fear or distress, and that's not home of creativity. Let me illustrate it as I see it myself. There is a balance stick. On one side is a state of fear, and on the other side is a state without fear. We know that fear is useful to us in some cases. In the middle is balance, so some kind of zero state, state of calmness and inner strength. In the situation in society, when society moves away from this balance in the direction of too much fear, anger, or similar states, me as a sensitive person feel that quite intense. Then I try to move in the opposite direction towards calmness and faith in outcome as I imagine it. But such constant striving for inner balance takes also quite some energy. And for creating my artwork, I need my full energy. For me, living in fear is definitely not a good environment to create, as an energy and vibrations you're living in affect the work you are doing. And in that case, fear would be woven into my work, and that is not my intention. So you are asking me about specific strategies, rituals, or mindset approaches. Well, there are some effective techniques to release stress from a body that I use them every time before I start painting. And I have some strategies of, or I could say rituals that helps me get in the flow. But if I now return to COVID situation, thanks God we have dreams. Through them, many of our fears, desires, and conscious impulses are processed and expressed. And most often, it is expressed what we are not even aware of or are unable to consciously recognize. Dreams had a key role in creating the video performance Our Daily that you are referring to. An inspiration for this video came from an image in my dreams where I saw myself smearing butter on my hand. And this is a key point in the video. Now I hope I didn't just ruin the viewer experience with that information. The title Our Daily actually comes from the prayer, Give us this day our daily bread, and has an important role in interpretation of the video. I could say also that this video was filmed in Cirknica natural environment. That's where I live. At that time, we were also filming an interview as a part of the project Woman About Woman, where I participated, and I invited a film crew to film the interview with me outside in a wood and in field of Cirknica. And this interview was also some kind of creative process itself, which I enjoyed very much. Such activities or projects in nature also helped me to overcome this period as smooth as possible.
This is very interesting. Thank you very much for sharing your thoughts. And also, we can share the link of your video. I saw it. It's very interesting. And then maybe now, if we move forward, I really would love to hear about your whole artistic journey and what initially sparked your interest in the world of art. Could you maybe share with us some insights into how you discovered your passion for art, these pivotal moments or influences that shaped your artistic path, and what continues to inspire and drive you today as an artist?
Yes, my life was always about art. There was no special event that would spark my interest in the world of art. I could say it was always there. It was about noticing things differently from other perspectives and in subtle ways, and especially noticing my inner world and how it is shaping and changing in correlation with an outside world. I can say that as a child, I had a stimulating home environment in the direction of artistic expression, and there is probably something in the genes as well. But it was not just about fine art. Fine art is my primary area of expression, but I have always been involved in music as well, and I'm also happy to indulge myself in poetry. I can easily see parallels between different artistic fields. The essence actually is the same. From time to time, I even painted along with music compositions, such as work of Norwegian composer Ola Gielo or Estonian composer Arvo Pärt. I was really involved in various fields of art already through the high school, but more serious exploration of fine art began during my studies at Art Pedagogy. All the directions and comments of the professors were very valuable to me, and I especially remember Professor Zdenko Huzjan. He was somehow important in my development of my artistic way. When white colored surfaces, some kind of inner landscapes, appeared for the first time in my paintings, Professor Huzjan was the first to point out the connection between my artistic expression and the place where I come from. The flatlands of my birthplace Planina showed itself in my paintings. This was my first lesson about the importance of the environment in which we live or move through. From this perspective, I continued my artistic research on my trip through Australia, which in that period had a very strong influence on my artistic expression. After that, I continued in postgraduate studies in the same study program, where I finished with a master thesis titled The Role of Body and Multisensory Integration in Art Education. I really delved into this topic and scientific research on how the integration of different senses and the whole body affects the experience of fine art and artistic expression itself. These theoretical discoveries also had a great influence on my own artistic practice. I became more attentive to my other senses beside vision and to the role of the whole body, which is often neglected also in our educational system. During this study research, I created some interactive or tactile works, but my next bigger step in artistic development was when I enrolled in a master's degree at the Academy of Fine Arts in Ljubljana. There, I started creating drawings with my whole body on big sheets of paper. This shift was also connected with big space and big walls I had available at the academy, so I could really open my body and let it speak through gesture. This is another proof that space can direct us and define our artistic expression. I could say that artistic expression is an urge to me, and this urge will always find a way through, no matter in which medium.
That's very interesting. Thank you very much for that. Well, you definitely opened now many topics that we could probably discuss for hours. But well, you said Australia, and you traveled there and draw a lot of ideas from it. And as you may already know, that ASEF is dedicated to fostering an expansion of horizons and helping different individuals, students to go abroad, to get diverse experience, and also, in building their careers. And they also providing fellows with study visits to different universities worldwide. And as you mentioned, you had the opportunity to enhance your studies abroad, especially in Australia. Could you share more about this experience and the valuable insights that this provided you with?
Yes, visiting other countries and cultures can be really valuable and a great opportunity to expand personal and professional horizons. As mentioned before, space itself can affect us in many ways. I see it that way and I experienced it that way. As a traveler, you are influenced by a geographical and cultural features of the area, the people you meet, their views, beliefs, knowledge. That way you get a wider picture, not only on the specific area that you are studying, but you gain also as a person. For example, you can become more aware that differences among us are completely okay, or maybe you get rid of some stereotypes, you become more aware of your own life patterns, you become less judgmental. In short, you can become a better person. I think all this can happen if only you are open enough and if you are able to look a little bit wider and also away from usual thinking patterns. Perhaps I was lucky enough that my field of study was thematically related to man's primal urges and need for artistic expression. To me, artistic expression means a way of understanding ourselves and the world at the most primal and essential levels of our existence. And the subject of Aboriginal art was written on my skin. I went in depth and I saw many aspects of their art on the ground. So, with all my senses, whole body, and full present. Of course, this is my field of interest, and that's why I still am so passionate about it. As a matter of fact, anyone can discover beauty in their own field of expertise, regardless of where they are physically located. But moving abroad is an extra push in certain direction. In my case, the location itself, the culture, and the people were a key element of my research. And here I see the greatest value of such a trip. But I know from my own experience that not all study trips are the same. Before Australia, I was in Germany on Erasmus exchange, and you can imagine that this was completely different experience. I was there for work experience at the clinic with art therapy, and this was also a valuable experience. But the country is different, the way of living is different, the mentality is different, almost the complete opposite of the Aboriginal world. Maybe I could say the more different the culture, the more it wakes you up in some other dimensions. So if I now move back to Australia, I went there with my sister on some kind of study tourism without the support of any organization, which would be easier on some ways. First, we visited our relatives, and from there we started our journey through Australia. We visited galleries and museums in bigger and smaller cities, but we also went to complete wilderness where Aboriginal communities still live. There we watched the Aborigines painting on stretched canvases on the dusty ground outside under the sky. Well, it's not all that romantic because there are art dealers who have a big influence on Aboriginal art production today, but that's another story. We were focused on traditional Aboriginal art that time. Our main focus, as I said, was on art and everything related to that. We Slovenians love nature, but Aboriginal people are part of their land. They respect it, they listen to it, and tell about it through stories and visual art. There you can feel the primal connection with nature. And I find this so relevant still today, or even more and more, in our modern way of living, where people often feel disconnected with nature and themselves. Aborigines don't separate art from their lives. It's very much intertwined with their understanding of life and their relationship with nature and spiritual beings. Art traditionally has a ritual meaning, is a means of communication, and also has very practical value in certain communities. So, after coming home, the experience of Aboriginal culture and my artworks under that influence accumulated in my extensive bachelor's degree. I remember how my mentor, painter and graphic artist Bojan Kovačić, was impressed with my degree and wanted to propose it for the student Prešeren Award, but we were too late to apply. But he really liked it, and I also liked it. So this period definitely had an impact on my creative expression. Internal and external landscapes were then my main artistic focus for many years.
It is, I have to mention that it's still a chance that you write an article about it, so we all will be able to, read about your experience there. And
definitely there is a chance, because those themes are still how to say,
not well researched.
not well researched.
Yes.
And important to talk about still today about connection with nature.
Definitely.
And,
yeah, I agree with you. And you mentioned before that in your artistic career you ventured into different mediums and expressed yourselves through drawing, paintings, also video. And I'm curious to learn about this experience working with these different mediums and how they have influenced your artistic expression. Could you share with us how each medium has shaped your creative process and the unique possibilities it has offered you in terms of exploring and conveying your artistic vision?
Yes, in my work, I follow a certain premise, but the medium is the one that allows me to best express a certain content. Each medium, of course, carries its own power of conveying information, but for every idea that arises, the choice of medium seems completely logical to me. I never wonder which medium would be the best to convey a certain content. So, for example, for the idea of spreading butter on my hand, which I got in my dream, I knew exactly what I had to make and which media use. So it was a video. There are no doubts here and no compromises either. The idea must be carried out through the medium that suits it. Video allows me to express content through movement and a live image. With video, you can emphasize the narrative aspect. I see a big value of video in the sequence of events. It's about highlighting what's happening on the timeline. I can connect that with some wider field. Human existence is defined by time and space, or more correctly, time-space. So two inseparable components of everything we perceive, and both components can be present both in the image and in the video as a certain state. The difference is that the video is usually made up of frames which together create a certain inspiration and impression. The painting must capture the same impression in a single frame, in the limited space of the painting surface. There is where I see the main difference. The picture, which is static in itself, can also be seen as a record of the traces of the artist's movement. When the artist is in his flow, this can be seen in the energy of the gesture, the arrangement of the picture space, the choice of colors, and so on. Within the classical painting medium, I researched mainly in the direction of color-filled painting and gestural painting. I also expanded the painting into three-dimensional space and created some tactile images. These so-called pictures in space and tactile pictures can address the viewer in a completely different way compared to a classic painting. Recently, I have been devoting myself more intensively to the medium of drawing. Entering the drawing field is like entering home to me. Drawing at the most primary, personal and sincere record enables me to confront what is otherwise inaccessible to a conscious mind. The medium of paper represents the point where cognition meets the intuitive, the unconscious, and the spiritual. When during the process I establish an active, sensitive relationship with the paper in front of me and the graphite in my hand, I also establish a relationship with myself. At the same time, in order to achieve the liveliness of the drawing, it is necessary to be completely honest and open. For a direct flow from my body on a paper, the medium of drawing in a technique of graphite and colored pencils is definitely the most suitable choice for me.
Great, thank you. Well, in your earlier interactive, these tactile works you mentioned, you very actively seek to engage the viewer on a sensory level. You invite the viewer to step into your artwork and experience the work physically, and your intention is to involve the viewer in a physical and a sensory experience with your artwork, and that's very interesting. Can you tell me more about the specific techniques or elements you incorporate into your paintings to create this immersive experience? How do you envision the viewer's interaction with your artwork, enhancing their understanding and connection to the themes you explore?
In the world of the internet and the abundance of visual images, paintings seem to compete for visual attention sometimes. Today, classical media such as painting and drawing often find themselves in some kind of defensive position compared to digital media of mass communication. Mass communication media uses the power of spectacle and attraction, where images are often a tool of manipulation. But as society changes towards ever ever greater digitalization, so does painting in certain segments. But I see the greatest strength of classic media precisely in the fact that it is fundamentally different from the premise of mass communication media. In the past, I also created some interactive tactile works, as you mentioned. My goal was not to fight for viewers' attention, but to encourage the viewer to become an active co-creator, in this case, a co-creator of an artwork. I addressed the tactile sense that is usually excluded from the gallery experience, and also touch is our first and oldest sense, but today quite neglected. One of such work is called Sunset Through My Favorite Window. It was built from many monochrome wooden cubes, like pixels, which were placed together to form the image of a sunset. A viewer was invited to move those blocks and change the image as he or she wanted. I created few similar works with such option of moving building blocks. Thus, the image was constantly reborn in different variations of the original version. But there is a paradox in these works. A genuine tactile experience should be far away from the shallow digital world, but participant couldn't escape it even here. Those blocks they were moving were actually big pixels. Those works somehow predicted what is happening today. Digital world is becoming part of every sphere in our life with fewer and fewer options to escape. And this is what this work relates to. I also created some other work with more natural motifs. It was called Obreki Unici. Unica is a river in my hometown. Here, a natural motif was woven into vertical threads in front of the canvas, and the viewer was invited to change the woven motif. So the concept of this work was a little bit different, and it was related to the problem of flooding in my hometown. But it was also a tactile work.
I think the experience of touching the artwork, I think it's always very exciting for a viewer. That's how you can connect, with the material and the textures. And because we always think that it's a bit, it's not allowed to do it. So I think it's a very great experience, a very good idea. But you said that in your current work, you're mostly doing drawings, and your approach to the creative process is reflected in the large format drawings, and the cycle is the lesser, we can say, from the body. And this is characterized by a very studious mindset as you delve into research that explores how art can effectively capture and express the multi-phase states of individuals, encompassing the mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical dimensions through expressive gestures. And then furthermore, your research aims to unravel the interconnectedness between material and non-material aspects of human existence. In light of this captivating exploration, I'm eager to inquire, how has your research on embodied cognition and the dynamic interplay between material and non-material aspects influenced your artistic process and the conceptual themes you explore in your artwork?
Well, the cycle out of the body was completely natural and a spontaneous continuation of the artistic scientific research on multisensory integration and embodied cognition that I made as part of my master's studies. This had an impact on both on my creative process and on the content of the works, because the space you give to your body definitely affects the artistic expression itself. In this case, artistic expression is highly conditioned by mental, memory, and emotional records in the body. By changing the research topic in my artistic practice, I moved from the medium of painting in acrylic colors to the medium of graphite drawing. I went from a smaller canvas format to a large paper format that covers my entire body. Here, the size of the format is important because I actually lean on the paper with my whole body, and I draw the drawing with both hands simultaneously in the span of extended arms. So why did I pay attention to body and senses in first place. We are grounded in this world because of our senses. We are primarily aware of ourselves and our position in space due to the feeling of our body, both internally and externally, through contact with everything that surrounds us. This relationship with the environment places us in space and defines us on the material level of existence. Awareness of one's body plays an important role in self-awareness, which seems extremely important these days when in society we are faced with the phenomenon of alienation and lack of contact with ourselves. The entire concept of the mentioned cycle is based on the latest neuroscientific discoveries about the embodied mind. This revealed that the complex organization of experiences is not limited only to the brain, but also involves loops through the body and environment. This understanding is important because often the body is perceived only as a means to carry the head. This is specifically visible in the educational environment where the child's head is the most important. At the same time, it is forgotten that we evolved from creatures whose cognitive activities were directly related to movement and physical interactions with the environment. In connection with this, many studies show that the influence of the mind on the body and of course the body on the mind is very important. For example, a change in body posture affects how we feel. It affects both our emotional and behavior as well as physiological changes in the body. Those researchers were very interesting to me. I could describe my creative process as a constant dialogic encounter. On one side are art materials and the semantic value of art elements. And on the other side is me as a sentient, rational, and spiritual being who resides in exactly this body. All these factors manifest as a complete whole. It is extremely interesting to me how symbolic images show on a paper through my creative process. This comes from the body, which is the carrier of emotions and unconscious content. I often see those symbols only at the end when I have established a distance from the work. I do not perceive human being as something that is limited only to the physical body, but something that spreads out into space through thoughts, works, actions, emotions, and everything we create. All the objects we make, including works of art, are a kind of extension of ourselves. With them, we stretch into a space where we cannot reach without our body. With the traces we leave behind, we shape a common collective living space. Through my works of art, I became aware that everyone has a responsibility to himself for his thoughts, words, actions, and feelings, as this plays a key role in shaping a person's future reality. It seems to me that as a society, we pay too little attention to this. The research in my latest works goes in this direction. It actually goes in the opposite direction to the usual practice, as I'm not interested that much in how outside world affect me as a person or an artist, but how can I affect my outer world. So I'm going in this direction. All this is so-called connected with the inseparable intertwining of material and non-material aspects of our existence. In a sense, energy follows form and form follows energy. In fact, we know very little about the world we live in, which Einstein already indicated by recognizing the spooky action at a distance. It is about quantum entanglement, where particles can affect each other instantaneously over vast distances. Here I can draw parallels with my own intuitive or philosophical artistic point of view that on the immaterial level, our existence is not limited to the skin of our body. Another discovery of quantum physics is interesting to me. Quantum superposition indicates that particles simultaneously exist in multiple states until they are observed. That could indicate the role of our observation and the direction of our attention. As I mentioned before, it is not unimportant where we direct our thoughts, words, and energy. This field of quantum physics is very interesting to me, and I'm also researching in that direction, which could be seen in my future works.
And I'm looking forward to see them. I really am. And in 2019, you had a solo exhibition at the Mihalic Gallery in Ptuj, where you showcased this series of drawings that you said they are titled Out of the Body. And I'm interested to learn more about this project. How did the collaboration with the Mihalic Gallery come about, and what did it bring to your artistic journey, and how involved you were in the process of setting up the exhibition, and how it felt to see your work displayed in such a context?
Well, Mihalic Gallery and City Ptuj has a special meaning to me. I live in Cerknica and I love this natural environment here, but I'm also inspired by other locations that make me want to visit them more often. These locations have a special aura, either in nature or culture, or the people who live there, or simply in the energy that these places radiate. And one such city is also Ptuj. With this city, I have some personal connections, but there is also something about the city on its own, and above all, the magic that happens on Carnival. I simply love a Carnival character Current, who is much more than that. Perhaps from similar motivations as I'm attracted to the art of the Aborigines, which is based on the authentic connection with nature and the mystical, and also has a ritual characteristics. Well, in that period that you mentioned, I was quite present in Ptuj with my artworks. In 2018, I already received an award at the Ptuj Art Award event, and 2 years later I received the highest recognition, the Grand Prix, at the same event. I won the prize for my work titled Sto vrstic spomina na rogatega, a painting that is very dear to me too. This painting is special because its essence is usually discovered only in the second reading of the painting, which gives it a kind of enigmatic quality. So in 2019, I collaborated with Mihalic Gallery in Ptuj with my solo exhibition. By the way, artist Mihalic, whose works are permanently exhibited in this gallery, also created many works of Current. So this collaboration with Mihalic Gallery was very pleasant to me. I presented my work to curator Stanka Gachnik, who also visited me at home. I informed her on which works I want to focus more, and then I left the process of setting up the exhibition completely to her, and it turned out very well. The gallery is located on an old tower by the river Drava, and my works fitted very nicely in the round space of the gallery. The gallery also has published a catalog that is available online. This exhibition was important to me because I presented myself with a brand new cycle of drawings from the body, which I already talked about before. Due to the size of the drawings, I didn't have them spread out on the walls in my studio, and the simultaneous placement of all the works in the gallery was a really nice overview of the current production. I think every solo exhibition is important for presentation to the public, but also for self-evaluation and a step forward in artistic research.
It's definitely very interesting to see the works, how they communicate with each other when they are displayed in a good place, such as Mihalic Gallery. They really have a good space to exhibit. So we talked about this earlier, but I'm still quite curious about that aspect. In a world where digital images and all these immersive experiences now with VR, XR, and so on, they dominate and they are capturing the viewer's attention for a very profound sensory experience. This can be a challenge. So how do you envision your artwork standing out and creating a lasting impact in such a fast-pacing digital society? Could you share some strategies or elements within your artwork that encourage viewers to slow down, to engage deeply, and appreciate the subtle details that may often be overlooked?
When I create work, I don't think about strategies to attract the viewer, and I also don't want to be too burdened with that either. But I'm aware of the problem. Capturing the viewer's attention for subtle details or a sensory experience can be a challenge. The best way to deeply experience my large drawings would be to make contact with your own body and the emotions that are stored in the body. A great way to do this is to experience the strokes in the drawing through the movement of your own body. I imagine an observer standing in front of the drawing and exploring what is happening in the drawing through gesture and body movement. Thus, the observer would physically enter the work of art. Under the right conditions, I would be happy to invite viewers on such an experiential journey through my large format drawings. This would be an experience that goes beyond the usual visual reading of artwork and could have a long-lasting effect on the viewer. With artworks, there is no other way than to take the necessary time for them. In a fast-paced digital society, it is essential that we know how to consciously stop and take time for activities or artworks that contribute to the deepening and enrichment of inner worlds and contact with ourselves. The viewer just has to take time, and then things start to unfold. Numerous studies have shown the power of empathically experiencing a certain situation or event simply through visualization. Our brain cannot tell whether we are physically experiencing something or just imagining it. The same processes are going on in the body in both cases. So if we observe the artwork as we would be traveling through it or creating it, it would also help to deepen our experience. I think that you cannot force someone to stop in the gallery and take time to watch artworks, but we can do a lot in education of our young generations. It may be a challenge today to attract a young viewer who is used to instant entertainment and a more or less passive interaction with digital media. But if those young people could find a gallery as a pleasant place, a place of opportunity to explore new things, a place where time doesn't exist and there's no need to hurry, they might learn to maintain curiosity even in front of a static picture. In this context, galleries could be a kind of oasis for peaceful contemplation.
I really like that last sentence you said, that they can be oases, because that's how I see galleries, and they are definitely a safe space for me to just slow down and be with the art, with myself. And I also agree that education is playing a very important role in all of that, to educate young people to that they will actually go and take time and spend some quality time in the gallery. But that's for another story.
Yes.
As our time together is drawing to a close, I would like to ask you just one more question. Could you please share, I don't know, the names of 3 contemporary Slovenian artists whose work resonates with you and has had an impact on your artistic journey?
Yes, I think impact on someone's artistic journey are very similar to first love that hits you the strongest and somehow marks you. I certainly can't pass by some remarkable people and great artists from student time in art pedagogy. I was and still am deeply impressed by the works of Professor Zdenko Huzjan. The depth of his works is overwhelming, and I can feel it very strongly. His creative power comes from his extraordinary sensitivity to specific human conditions. Another very sensitive and to me inspiring author is Professor and artist Ivo Mršnik. His graphics and drawings are living records of inner states, which resonates also with my drawings. Professor Mršnik must have recognized similar impulses that drive his and mine work, as he has one of my student graphic and in his personal collection. And the third one I would like to expose is a younger painter, Igor Banfi, whose landscapes are a projection of the painter's intimate reflection on the world. And some of those works also very resonate.
Yeah, thank you very much. We definitely have many extraordinary painters, artists in Slovenia, and thank you very much for mentioning these 3, and also for your time and for this interesting conversation. And also big thank you to our audience as well for joining us on this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'm looking forward to the next episode of Let's Talk About Slovenian Art. Thank you very much.